Talk Podcast.
Yeah, I love that, man. You spoke about that journey, or that time that you were just drinking a box, and that pastor would come and sit with you, and that journey from leaving church.
Yeah.
And and I remember because I used to watch a lot of your videos leading worship back in the day, because I had started going to a church that's similar to where you were at around when I was about 18 years old. And I had never seen worship music before. I grew up with just hymns. And so I had never seen a band with drums, and I was told that's demonic.
Yeah.
Growing up, that's of the world.
Electric guitar.
They have an electric guitar. They're going to hell, right? But anyway, so, I grew up with that. So, and what I knew of back when I first started coming to these churches that sang a lot of Christian contemporary music or gospel type music with a lot of, drums and all that, electric guitar, was that a lot of the worship pastors were Balangi and stuff, and were not Islanders. And so when I saw you, I was like, far out, man, this is Islanders. So I started to watch a lot of your clips, and I had no idea about your story or anything like that. And it was at a time that you weren't in church, because I would read the comments and they'll be like, man, I miss Tulele, or where is Tulele now? He's not leading anymore. He's not in church anymore, and things like that. And if I could just ask, what was that journey like, leaving church and that that time that you were, I guess, not in church or going through a dark time, and then coming back to church?
Oh yeah, it was. So what happened was, I left, and I had it was hell for my girlfriend at the time, Susanna, who, thank God, she's married to me now. But
Shout out,
Susie.
Shout out.
But because I used to drink a lot when I was younger. I used to smoke a lot of weed when I was younger. So I went through all that stuff, and just everything that was in my head, I couldn't handle it anymore. So I started drinking again, and I'd drink 2 bottles of vodka, just straight, drink it like it's water.
Dang.
Shucks.
Yeah, so it was ridiculous. Sometimes I'll be, even my dad used to, shout out to my dad, sometimes I'd drink, I'd have a big bowl, I'd just put the whole bottle of bourbon in there, right?
Shucks.
And a little bit of Coke, and then I'll just drink from the big bowl.
Whoa.
Yeah, my dad used to say, why are you using a big bowl? Because I hate getting up 12, 13, 15 times to fill up my little glass.
Dang.
Life hacks.
Yeah, I know. And my dad would be like, suddenly, that's hell of a layout. And I'm like, oh. So yeah, I just to sleep at night, I had to do that, and it got so hard for my missus. So she ended up during that period, and I was pushing her away the whole time too, because I'm like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Go find yourself a good man. Oh, I'm sick.
It's hard to love someone when you don't love yourself.
And I was so sick. I put on 100 kilos
Dang.
in 1 year,
Dang.
in the first year.
Yeah.
So, because I was my parents got really scared, and, they came to me, Lele, they weren't surprised, because I'm a bit crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm passionate, and you see it when I sing. I'm just a
yeah.
passionate guy,
Yeah.
So they were worried, Lele, we just lost your brother. We don't want to lose, another son, A parent's supposed to, the kid's supposed to bury your parents, you know what I mean? We're not supposed to bury our kids. Yeah. So they used to cry to me, and that. So I'm like, okay, I'll try and cut down the drinking a bit.
Yeah.
But then I replaced it with food, just eating all the time. So I just, and I did that for 5-6 years. Susie, she left me 10 times.
Dang.
Yeah. And it was so hard for her. You know what? People used to come up to her at church and say, like, what are you doing with him? You know what I mean? He's not well.
Wow.
You know, he's sick. And she was like, and that's why I got so much respect for her, right? She's like, you know what? I know that. And I know how it looks. But if that's the case, why does God keep telling me in my prayers, that's your husband?
Wow.
Stick by him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she kept coming back, and I was like, I used to get angry. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, go get yourself a good godly man.
Yeah.
Somebody with no issues. Now that I'm older, that person doesn't exist.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, we all got our problems, man. So I went through all of that, and after, like, so that was started from 2005.
Yeah.
Right, 2010. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna end up. I got to 305 kilograms.
Dang.
Wow.
I know. And I had to, because I was worried about what it'll do. Because my dad had a heart attack after my brother died.
Yeah. Wow.
That was a rough year, right?
Yeah.
My cousin who we pretty much grew up with. So we like, she's our sister.
Yeah.
We call her our sister. Her partner, she lost her partner to suicide that same year. You know what I mean? So everything piled up, and I'm like, I can't take this anymore. So I went through that spiral. And then my wife used to tell me during that whole period, go see somebody. And I'm like, I don't even know, you know, because I don't talk. Like, I don't even know what to say, even if I did go see somebody.
Yeah.
So 2010, because we used to go through it, me and my girl, because we'd have problems and I'd shut down, right?
Yeah.
So she used to hammer me all the time. Man, you can't keep shutting down. You got to talk to me, right? So I'm like, I got to learn to talk. So I started watching, you know, Robert Downey Jr., Vince Vaughn, you know, all the yappers. Yeah. So, you know, shout out to those guys. They taught me how to communicate, right? Now my wife's like, shut up already. I said, man, I'm just giving you what you prayed for. So I went through all of that, and then 2010, she came back to me, like, this is probably like the 10th time, and then she said, Lele, gotta get some help, please, I'm begging you. By that time, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna, you know, like my doctor said to me, you're not gonna make it to the end of the year. You're 305 kilograms. Your heart's gonna stop, bro. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go see somebody. So I went and saw somebody, and I'm like, you know, I don't, you know, if I decide to do something, if I know I'm not going to go hard out with something, I don't even bother.
Yeah.
So when I did go, I was ready. So I just spilled everything.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. Like, I encourage everybody, don't lose time. Like, you know, I don't regret it now, but I did at the time. I lost 6 years, bro.
Yeah.
You know, because I went to see someone first session, second session.
Yeah.
I was ready to move forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I could have done it 6 years before.
True, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I went through that, and then and that helped. And then I was ready, you know, to get married.
Yeah.
Because, so the deal was, me and Susie were going to get married. Like, I wanted to ask her to marry me in 2005.
Yeah.
And then my brother passed away.
Yeah.
And that kind of knocked it back. But it worked out, you know, like God's plan.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I in hindsight, I see that as God's plan, because I had a lot of stuff in me. A lot of anger, you know, like that needed healing. Yeah. So I would have been a garbage husband back then. You know what I mean? So going through that brought a lot of stuff up that I had to fix up. So by 2011, we got married 2011, and I was ready to move forward. I mean, I was still a bit, with depression, it never really truly goes well. You know what I mean? So you got to get the tools.
Yeah.
And now that I got the tools, you know what I mean? Like when I feel it, even today, like last night I had a big panic attack because I get anxiety. You know what I mean? And I always have. To the point where when I was younger, and I just started singing, my cousin Elisa Balford Ni Tulele, who's married to Leah and Evans there.
Yeah.
So I had sung a lead.
Sorry, shout out to my cousin.
Shout out to the Balfords. So I used to look up to her, right? She was one of my icons because she was so passionate when she sang, you know what I mean? So I'd sing a lead for a song, and I didn't even know how old I was, probably 13, 14.
Yeah.
And she used to say to me, okay, Lily, so you're singing the lead, and then we'll go through it a few times. Then she'd come up to me and say, oh, hey, you know what size your shoes are? I said, yeah, I'm size 12.
Yeah.
She said, cool. Okay, now you know. Stop looking at your feet. Yeah. Because I used to sing like that all the time. But even now, I still do it. Like with my anxiety, I just close my eyes and just, zone out and just put myself in a room with just me and God. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, sorry, boys. When I talk about this kind of stuff, I always get lost.
That's all right.
So where am I going?
Yeah, so I'm just saying that journey from leaving church to coming back.
I started, and I stopped singing.
Yeah.
Right, because I couldn't sing anymore. So in 2010, when I stopped going to church, like not only was I started drinking heavily, I went from smoking like 1-2 cigarettes a day to like 60 rollies a day.
Dang.
Yeah. So I got mild emphysema, and I couldn't even say a few words without coughing my guts up. So 2010, I went to the doctor and got some tests done. Told me you got emphysema. So I couldn't even sing.
Wow.
And it was kind of like I was kind of happy about it.
Oh, true.
Yeah, because it just means there's no pressure on me to sing again.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it's hard to explain. Like, the only reason I sing now is to glorify God and to help people, you know what I mean, to connect with God. But I don't even sing at home. I don't listen to the only time I hear my songs is when my kids or my wife listens to it. I don't even like hearing my own voice. Yeah. I don't even know I don't know what it is. Yeah. Maybe I still got a little bit of self-hatred in me. Yeah. Who knows? But then I had a friend reach out to me. Shout out to Moso Vince Harder.
Shout out, Vince.
So Vince, I started going back to church. Yeah. Right? And I only used to go to the 6 p.m. and I'll hide in the back corner.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. Like, I just want to come and just receive. Right? So me and Susie used to come and sneak into we used to sneak into the blue corner. Yeah. In the blue. So I saw Vinny up there one time. He came up to me. I said, Lily, look, I do like these covers. Can you come in to the studio, right? And so I'm like, so I can't sing anymore. He said, nah, just come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even at 30%, you'll still be sweet.
Yeah.
So, just having people like that believe in you.
Yeah.
So that's what got me back into singing, because I didn't want to let them down. So I started rehearsing all the time, just doing scales every day, you know what I mean, in case you caught up. So I did that and kept on going to church, and then I started getting stronger, and then got onto the with one of my mates. Shout out to Pastor Benny Little.
Shout out Benny Little.
He ran the 11:15 service, and then we joined that. I said no for a long time, but then, you know, I was getting stronger and getting better. Me and Susie had been married for a little while.
Yeah.
At that point, so it just made it easier. Another one of my also Pastor David Ware had, you know, asked me all the time.
Shout out to David Ware.
Hey, when are you going to start singing again? I said, man, I'm washed, bro. I'm not singing here again. So he'd keep asking me, you know, when I used to pray at night, you know, and I used to feel God saying to me, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I need you to encourage people like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, to teach them, if you fall off the horse, you can get back on.
Get back on.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, man, cool. I don't even like singing anymore, right? So I just kept practicing. Then the one day Dave did his testimony, and one of the songs that I did back in the day really encouraged him when he went through such a tough time. So he asked me, bro, I'm doing my testimony this Sunday at church. Can you come sing?
Yeah.
Right? So I was getting ready. My anxiety was just so bad, right? So it was a Saturday night, and me and my wife, we went to bed. I couldn't sleep. She was asleep. And I got up, and then, you know, next thing I know, my wife gets up 4 o'clock in the morning, right? She just woke up. She saw me. I'm sitting on the couch. Dribble everywhere.
Shucks.
I just downed 2 bottles of spirits, right?
Damn.
And she was like, Lenny, what are you doing? I know what you're doing. Are you trying to get out of it? I know what you're doing. Why are you doing this? And I'm like, man, I'm scared, man. I can't do this. And like, I can't. You know, like, I'm not good enough to do that. So, you know, next day I went, right? Because I'm like, at the same time, I got this thing in me, right, that I don't quit.
Yeah.
You know, even though I'm a notorious self-sabotager.
Yeah.
So I went, spilled my guts up. I was hungover the whole day, you know, and I said to Dave when I got there, because this is the problem with me, bro. I don't care what people think of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I spent so much time, my first stint at church, faking it, worrying about what people would think of me.
Yeah.
That destroyed my mental health, right? So I'm like, David, I'm drunk, bro.
Yeah.
Do you still want me to do this? You know, the only reason I turned up was out of respect for you.
Yeah.
And he said, sweet, don't worry. You know what I mean? You can do it. You know, and I'm like, but if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, there was no pressure at all. So I'm like, oh, I was hoping you were going to tell me to buzz off, you know.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. And that's another example, you know, that kind of cemented it for me, like, you know, acceptance.
Yeah.
You know, we just, you know, as a church, we just got to be more accepting, bro. You know what I mean? So I did that, and then after that, you know, Dave for the longest time asked me, you know, hey, do you want to get back on the roster?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm sweet, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and then it asked me again a few months later, you want to get back on the roster? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that whole time, God's speaking to me. You know what I mean? Like, Lele, I know you don't think you're good enough, but to me, you're perfect.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's and all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, please, can you go and serve and help out the team. If they need you, they might not even need you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But put your hand up and, help out.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, gotta do it.
Yeah.
And every time, as hard as it is, every time God tells me to do something,
Yeah.
it's always the best thing for me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even though I get anxiety, once I've finished like the service or whatever, I feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I fought through that to help somebody, because I just want to help someone. You know what I mean? Somebody like me, like to all my nutters out there.
Yeah.
God loves you and you're fine.
Yeah.
You're on a journey. That's the thing, because I went through depression. I was suicidal that whole time.
Wow.
Right? My wife used to get so scared, and that's the reason why she wanted me to go to therapy all the time, because she'd come and she'd come to my house and come into my room, wake me up, and then I got a knife there, because I used to run a knife along my neck
Shucks.
every night, just
Far out.
just to quiet the noise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just wanted the noise to stop, but that noise, it gets quieter.
Yeah.
And there's so much on the other side. So I always try and encourage people, just hold on.
Yeah.
Man, I would have missed out on so much. You know what I mean? I would have missed out on my kids, that I shouldn't have had, because I was, shooting blanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a miracle. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, shooting blanks, that's a dog word. Sorry. So yeah, I couldn't have kids.
That's all right. People.
And that was another hard thing for
Yeah.
me. Compounded onto everything else was,
Yeah.
I didn't get into a full-on proper relationship, because I got tested when I was young, right, for something else, right? Because I used to be silly back in the day, so I had to go get tested when I was 19, and then I found out then couldn't have kids.
Wow.
Right? And that's a thing that runs in my family. One of my uncles couldn't have kids, and who else knows down the line, whatever. So then that, because when I was growing up, if you couldn't have kids, you're not a real man. So that kept me from being in a proper relationship. So I'd date a girl, and then I'd find some way to stuff it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just keep going on like that, because I was scared that if they found out I couldn't have kids, they were going to end up leaving me anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's all in my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, but then I started back to your question that you asked me 75 minutes ago. So going back to church, it just made it easier, you know what I mean? Like, and it's, for me, it wasn't about, I have to be at church.
Yeah.
Being at church and serving in the house, that's part of my worship to God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, I serve at church. That's why I go to church. And because the world's so crazy, bro. And now that I got kids, I need my kids in the house, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've learned a lot. Got a lot of wisdom in the house, you know what I mean? And it's probably gotten me out of more trouble that I should have been in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I need my kids to grow up, and my kids are like me. My son, he's 3 years old, but he's like a little man.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my daughter's, got a wild temper like me too. So, I love it. It's part of my worship to God, and part of my way of serving humanity.
Yeah.
And shout out to my church. Thanks to God and through my church, I've been able to help
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Through what I do. And, you know, the other reason, bro, the other reason I had to get into singing is the gnashing of the teeth.
Oh.
I don't want to gnash, you know? The ganache. Is it ganache?
What do you mean by that? I don't know.
You know, if you don't use your talent
Yeah.
to serve God,
Yeah.
then
True.
you'll be outside ganashing.
Ganesh.
I don't even know what that means, but that, bro, ever since I was little, that's always scared me.
Yeah.
You know? And,
I think, yeah.
you know, I think I worry too much about my teeth.
I think, yeah. I would say, I'm not too sure on the context of that. But,
No, I'm just joking.
yeah.
I'm just
But
joking.
for real, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Is that when God has given you that
Yeah.
gift,
Yeah.
it's like, don't waste your time ganashing outside.
Yeah,
you know?
and I just want to, you know, when it's all said and done, you know, I just want to know that I gave it my best shot.
Yeah.
And, you know, not only do I have God on my case, you know, like I always, because, you know, so I couldn't have kids, right?
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years of our marriage, we were struggling to have kids.
Wow.
And so my wife was like, man, Lily, can you please go get tested again? Like, this is the thing that I was scared about,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I could see the stress in her eyes,
Yeah.
right? And then all those thoughts come flooding through my head.
Yeah.
She's going to leave you. She's going to leave you, you know what I mean? Because you're not a man. You can't have kids. So I'm like, no, I don't want to, because I'm believing, right? I've been praying all this time. I'm believing that we're going to have kids, and I don't want to go to the doctor because I know what they're going to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't have kids. And she's like, yeah, but I just want to know so we know what to do, whether to move forward,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and go another route,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I said, okay, I'll do it for you. So we went to get tested. And sure enough, we go back to the doctor, and the doctor says, sorry, mate. You know what I mean? Like, instead of swimming, you guys are like lounging by the pool, sunbathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man, I didn't want to hear that. That was like a kick in the guts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was believing the whole time, so I was stressed out. So after that, we were like, and I could see, you know, like that took the wind out of me and Susie. So then I'm stressing out, right? My own mental issues with that. I'm scared, so I'm not praying every night. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Father God, I'm not only am I praying to God, I'm praying to my swim team, right? I'm like, yo,
Yeah. For real.
please, I'm begging you, somebody get in the pool. You know? And I'll be
Yeah.
crying, bro, because I'm like,
Yeah.
otherwise your mom's going to leave me,
Yeah.
you know? So please, I'm begging one of you, right?
Yeah.
Just get in the pool
Yeah.
and swim, please.
Yeah.
And then that happened for like a few months. And then one day, like, we were just figuring out how to go about doing IVF. And then Susie comes into the room, like, screaming. I'm like, Carrie, what's wrong? She's like, wearing the test around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some of that residue was like coming to my and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what are you doing? She said, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh man, I started crying. I'm
Yeah.
like, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but, you know, we were so happy.
Yeah.
But week 38,
Yeah.
you know, we lose our little girl.
Yeah.
She snuck off to heaven, didn't tell me. Right, so, but that's why, like, shout out to Raquel.
Yeah.
Like, I always have God, you know, like, always hear him encouraging me, pushing me to be better, pushing me to, but I also hear her voice like,
Yeah.
come on, Dad, you can do it. You can
Yeah,
do
wow.
it. You know what I mean? So that was tough. That was tough too. And, you know, I went through about where it just could have all went left after that. So,
Yeah.
but that's why, you know, she's the captain of my swim team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I truly, truly believe if she didn't lead the way,
Yeah.
get into the pool, then Frankie and Shugi wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So shout out to the captain. Love
Shout
you,
out to the
baby.
captain.
Yeah.
Far out.
So, yeah. And it was hard that night too. So that night we found out, we got into the car and I was like sobbing. We were
Yeah.
both sobbing. And I'm like, because I'm crazy, right?
Yeah.
I started driving. We're at Windsor Hospital.
Yeah.
I started driving. Susie like noticing, looking at the speedo, you know, on a country road, right?
Yeah.
60, 70,
Yeah.
90, 120, 130.
Sure.
Lele, what are you doing? I was going to drive into a pole. Said,
Far
man,
out.
we're going to go be with girls,
Yeah.
you know, tonight. And then out of nowhere, this is like 11 p.m. at night, Monday night. Cop came out of nowhere. There's nobody on the road
Yeah.
and stopped us.
Yeah.
Right. And if they weren't there, man, I would have wrapped us around the pole.
Far out.
Yeah. So, but, you know, that's not the way people, you know, so I'm thankful for the police for stopping us. But, yeah, I almost lost it after that
Yeah.
because that was so difficult. You know,
Yeah.
we got our miracle. And it was like, it took like a few months. I was so numb.
Yeah.
And then, you know, God encouraged me. I was crying and praying, you know, just to make it through the day. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And God said to me, hey, you can confirm the story with Susie, bro.
Yeah.
This was 2014. So God said to me, Nele, don't worry about Raquel.
Yeah.
She's here in paradise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And up here, time flies just like that. So you're going to be here soon anyway. You know what I mean? So, you know, she just run your race well. And your time will come because we're all going to,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to happen for
Yeah.
everybody one day. So, you know, I'm like, yeah, she's at peace.
Yeah.
And they said to me, and, you know, she's got to get up here.
Yeah.
And then said, don't, you know, just do your best down there, and Donald Trump's going to be president one day.
I remember.
Bro, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember this
Bro,
conversation.
I said to Susie, I told her that, and I'm like, yeah. And then I was praying, and then I got my peace because
Yeah.
she's fine. You know, she's cheering us on from heaven.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're good. We can carry on.
Yeah.
And he also told me, so, you know, it's probably all in my head that Donald Trump's going to be president. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah. I don't think God was talking to her.
And this was, I remember you telling me the story because this was back when Donald Trump wasn't even running.
No. And I'm like, and then when he became president, because I doubted that. I
Yeah.
doubted that I could even hear from God anymore.
Yeah.
When he became president or when he even started running,
Yeah.
that confirmed to me, no, God did speak to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kelsey is fine.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I'm good. Now we can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it wasn't so much about Donald Trump. It was more about just
Yeah.
information about your daughter.
Yeah.
You know, don't add us, guys. If
Yeah. Shout out to Donnie. You know, it's a tough job, whoever's at the helm, but yeah. So that was just to tell me
Yeah.
that in order for you to know it was me, check that out of you.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember you telling me.
And
that.
I'm like, I told Susie, and then when I tell that story to people, I'm like, Susie, tell them.
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
And that's, yeah. And I needed that. When he started running, I'm like, that was you. Thank you, Father.
Yeah.
Thank you, Father.
Man.
Well, that is.
I love it. I love it, man. I think you go.
Sorry, just to close it off. I thought like there was one weekend a couple of years ago. I remember there was a service where your story was shared a little bit on our during the church service, and I thought one of the greatest things I remember from that story you shared, obviously, was just a statement you made about if like it's better to struggle in the house than it is to outside of the house. And I think just overall, in hindsight of what we've talked about today, and even for me, just getting to know you a little bit more, I can definitely say that that's so true, man. That you've lived it out, and man, thank you so much for sharing your story and your heart and
thank you,
everything
boys.
like that.
Thanks for having me. Love what you guys are doing. You know, doing a great job.
Thanks also.
Yeah, man. I think like every time I talk to you, like I get encouraged every time, and I'm glad that we're able to put it on something and put it down and record it, because you were a massive influence to me and to us guys in college, because we were battling that, you know, we're not perfect, but then talking with you, and you would always encourage us, like, you don't have to be perfect. And I think even your story, I just get obviously the word redemption, like your whole story is a story of redemption. Is like, is that your imperfect self, but serving a perfect God, and having that gift and sharing that gift with the world. And
you know, and that's the hardest thing too, because you know I've you know always been such a private person.
Yeah.
So me saying all this, it's a struggle for me to do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm like anybody. You know, we're all human, bro. We don't want people to know that we're weak.
Yeah, true.
You know, but you know, I had a moment like I was off my face and I was talking to God, and you know, God said to me, "Don't you want to help? You know, the other kids like you."
Yeah, true.
That don't know, because I went through that whole period of, you know, I used to think I'm the only one who just can't get his stuff together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then years later, I find out a lot of people were struggling. You know what I mean? And for me, it would have been nice to know that.
Yeah.
That I wasn't alone. So, you know, I do that only for that purpose. Like, you know, it's embarrassing to me. And, you know, and the enemy gets in your mind and tells you, oh, nobody's going to listen to your songs ever again. And luckily for me, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I sing to serve God.
Yeah.
I don't care about pats on the back.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of that stuff. So, you know, I just want to help the young, us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
true. We appreciate them, and it's definitely helped us. And I think you know, I think we're short for time, but something that you've shared with me that's helped is that, like, you've been through that journey, and that you encourage others that they don't have to go through that journey. And even the things that you've put in place yourself, like from going to drinking a bowl of whiskey to now, like, you've allowed drinking in your life, but you've kept it at like 4 drinks or whatever it is, like that you've kept it to, and that you know you wouldn't be seen drunk, or you're not going to be drunk anymore. And I think that's a massive thing, and it's definitely encouraging to us and to people out there as well that are listening, that, you know, you don't have to be perfect. If God's called you and God has given you a talent, use it. And if you need help, get help, and keep pushing, because I think one of the maddest things for us was being in college and being at church when you came back to lead one of the songs that was recorded in one of the new albums that our church released. And that was a massive thing, and that was like a milestone as well. And I'm sure, you know, when we have you back on also, and we can talk more about that stuff, but I just want to say thank you also for doing your journey and sharing your heart with us in a personal way, and also coming here today and, you know, laying it down for us as well. So it's deeply appreciated.
Sweet boys. You know, shout out to everybody out there with the listeners. You know, hope it encourages you, and just keep fighting. Keep fighting. It's gonna get better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you also to Tulele and Frosty for being here, and myself for being here. I thank myself too.
Well, well.
But hey, look, there's some topics that we touched on today, and I know there's a lot of depth that we dove in with our Tyler today. But I'm going to drop some links down below, so if any of you are needing help, make sure you get the right help.
Awesome.
There's going to be some links to help you and all that stuff. But thank you so much for tuning in. We love yous. We appreciate you guys, and yeah, be good, be kind, and be blessed. Love.
Be blessed. I don't know how I did that. Who are you? Like,
I've been strong and I've been broken within a moment. I've been faithful and I've been reckless at every bend. I've held everything together and watched it shatter. I've stood tall and I have crumbled in the same breath. I have wrestled and I have trembled towards surrender. Chased my heart adrift and drifted home again. Plundered blessing till I've been desperate to find redemption. And every time I turn around, oh, you're still there. Before I was lost, I was yours. Before I was not, there's grace to spare for all my mistakes. And now I just rest me. And I know don't deserve this kind of love. Somehow, this kind of love is who you are. It's a grace I can never hide up, to be somebody you still want. Somehow, you love me as you find.